Okay. All right. We are recording. So, good morning. I am so excited to see all of your beautiful faces this morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Caitlin Foreman, and I am going to, I don't know how I can turn those off on my, I just got a new computer and it's all connected, which is really exciting, but you may hear some dings. Hopefully, hopefully that'll be okay. But anyway, oh, that was you, Val. That's hilarious. I love you, Val. So anyway, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a little bit about how to basically have an additional tool in your toolbox when it comes to sharing Arbonne. So I want to go ahead and just say I have some disclaimers that I want to start with. First of all, I am not necessarily an expert on this. I have been doing this. My team and I have been implementing this over the last year. I'm actually going to have somebody from my team, Executive Area Manager Erin DeRozier, share a little bit later because she's been doing a lot of these with me over the last year as well. So I know she'll have a lot of good things to say. But just so you know, like there's always room to learn. School's always in session. And I feel like in Arbonne, there's always going to be an evolution of staying relevant. But it always, but we always want to keep the main thing the main thing. We share Arbonne with people. That's what we do. And so in no way is this training meant to infer that virtual events is the way to exclusively run your business. So let me just go ahead and say that. No, that is not the case. Please don't fully do virtual. You heard it here first. Don't stop doing in-person events. However, there's obviously going to be times and places when having the ability to run a virtual event is nice and convenient and a good thing. I don't know, like maybe when there's this crazy pandemic virus where everybody is hashtag social distancing. I mean, there's that. So that is why we're talking about this morning. So this is meant to be, like I said, a tool in your toolbox. As we know, any good toolbox has many different tools for many different purposes. And like I was saying, this is a prime example for why we need several different tools. Just because we primarily run our businesses with in-person events doesn't mean that, something, a situation like this has to halt our businesses, right? So I also want to go ahead and say that mindset is everything. Mindset is so important when it comes to doing something new, just like when you start your Arbonne business, right? You're going to be bad at this at first. Like, how many of you guys were bad when you started doing in-person events or spas? I was like, pretty sure we all were. So just know that this is no different than that. There's going to be a learning curve. You're going to feel maybe a little bit uncomfortable, maybe a little bit awkward. So like push through that, lean into that discomfort. And the more that you do, the better you're going to be, just like with in-person events. Okay. So I want you guys to understand that the mindset that you come to the table for this is going to be really, really key, because if you expect all of your virtuals to bomb and not be nearly as good as in-person events, guess what? That's what's going to happen. So you have to come to the table with a mindset of, you know what? I get to share Arbonne with people. I'm learning a new tool, and use it as the opportunity it is to learn something new and reach out to people using that excuse. Like, hey, I'm trying this new thing. I'm learning how to share Arbonne virtually. Would you just be a guinea pig for me? Like how awesome would it be to be able to ask that one person that we know we all still have that, maybe is far away and you've never been able to invite them to a spa party. And you can ask them really like low pressure to like, hey, like I'm trying this new thing. I'm looking, trying to learn how to share Arbonne virtually. I really value your feedback. Would you be willing just to hop on and just listen and let me know what you think? Hello, they're getting the information that you want them to have, and they get to give you feedback. So that's key. There's also, just like you have no sale spas or dud spas, you're going to have those here too. So you're going to have virtuals that feel like you've gotten nothing out of it. Just like when you drive 2 hours to an event where maybe the host doesn't even come to the front door and you drive 2 hours back home with nothing. Or, so maybe you'll have no shows. Or you drive, to an event where there's people there, but nobody buys, nobody books, and nobody is interested in the business, right? Like we've all had those. The same thing happens with virtual. So just know that this really isn't that different than what we're used to. It's just another way to share it with people. Also, though, I wanted to make sure that I was clear on the ratio to in-person events and virtual events. So in order to get what you would typically get off of one, I'd say just average in-person event, right? You're gonna have to do 2 to 3 virtual events, I would say. And so these aren't definitely one-to-one. So if you've got one on your calendar, you wouldn't, like when I have this on my calendar, and I don't count it as an extra event necessarily, unless I'm doing 2 to 3. And then that's kind of what's going to get me what I would probably get out of a normal in-person event. So just know that they're not one-to-one ratio. You have to do more virtuals. So let's just say, for instance, which we've already covered, this is not what you want to do. Let's say your whole calendar for 1 month is just virtual events. Instead of having 8 to 10 in-person events, you would need to have anywhere between 20 to 30 virtuals. So just think of, so keep that in mind, but also do know that you're not leaving your home. It's 30 minutes, 30 minutes on a Zoom, and you're not having to drive anywhere. So you could knock out 2 to 3, maybe even 4 in the time that it would take you to drive to do an in-person event and come back. So, just keep all that in mind. Learning curve, you're going to be awkward. You got to do more. I mean, this is all stuff that we know. Like, am I saying anything to anybody that is shocking? No, like, this is all you're like, oh, this makes total sense, right? So like, use your common sense when it comes to this stuff. So give it time and give it consistency. If you want to see fruit from virtual events, give it time and give it consistency, what do we have to give our business in order to see fruit from our business? Oh yeah, time and consistency. So again, this is no different than anything else you've ever heard or anything else that you've ever used in your business. Okay, so now to the actual training. I had to get all that out so you guys knew where I was coming from, all the disclaimers, all the caveats, all the everything. So, okay, so really quick, the reason that we're doing this training now, this was actually going to be a training that was going to be on next Wednesday night for the Nation call, but obviously, sorry, my door is locked from the inside, so they can't get in. But if you hear little things happening over there, there are children that are being watched by another adult out there, don't worry. Anyway, so the reason we're doing this now is because we realize that this whole COVID-19 thing, it may very well have an effect on your in-person business, right? It may not. Here's the thing. Don't expect that it will. Prepare for, like we always say, prepare for impact, right? Expect the best, assume the best, but prepare for impact. So you may very well have some hosts who want to reschedule. You may very well have some, people who might freak out and want to not do their in-person events. And this is going to be a good option for you to be able to do as a placeholder this month, to then be able to maybe reschedule them for next month. Sorry, I'm going to be looking at my notes because I want to make sure that I'm staying on task. So if you're using in-person events from this month that want to cancel, she already has a guest list, but encourage her to think of anybody else who wouldn't have been able to attend the in-person event and invite them to join. So this is going to be really, really key, because if she's going to be hosting for you again next month, which is going to be the goal, like you want to do an in-person event with her. So if she's going to be doing that, she obviously can have people attend a virtual event that wouldn't have been able to attend her in-person event. And so making sure that you give her some ideas and talk to her about who else she can invite is going to be really, really key. And then again, on that note, who can you ask to host some virtuals for you this week, maybe, that you've never been able to ask to host because they aren't local, or someone that you've been wanting to ask to get in front of the Arbonne opportunity? Who can you ask just to practice so that you know what you're doing when you've got the ones that are coming up that might be, rescheduled to a virtual and then rescheduled for next month. So, okay. So the first thing that I want to start with is hostess coaching. And I'm actually going to be, well, I want to say host coaching, because we can have hosts, especially virtually, that are not women. Oddly enough, we can have man hosts. So we're going to call it host coaching, because men are not necessarily hostesses. So host coaching. And you guys, again, where do we start with our in-person events? Like, how do we make sure our in-person events are good? Host coaching. Like, again, so much of what you're going to hear this morning is not new. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing my screen with you. I'm going to share the presentation that I use, but I'm also going to share a tool that I will make sure that your VPs have and can send to you, that basically has all of this outlined for you and step by step. Because you guys, I'm type A, and that's kind of what I like. So hang on a second. I'm going to share my screen. So, okay, we have a s'more newsletter that is a Arbonne virtual webinar. You can call it a webinar, you can call it an event, you can call it whatever you want, but it's a how-to. And it's literally step-by-step how to do this. So obviously you may have already set the date. You're going to help your host make a guest list. Like I said, she may already have a guest list. Encourage her to invite people who are not local. A great way to do this is ask them to find 3 names from 5 areas of their life: family, local friends, long distance friends, coworkers, neighbors. If they can think of 3 people from 5 groups, they've already got 15 people to text right away. And so you're going to send them this text, edit it to reflect what's true for them, obviously, to send to their guest with a picture invitation, just like we always do, that has the date, the time, and then the Zoom details. So you're going to be sending her a text. Basically, you want, just like when we make little red stamp or typorama invitations, we kind of want to have a hand on how our host is inviting her friends, because as we all know, hey, do you want to come to an Arbonne party, is going to yield very different results than, hey, why don't you come over for a girls' night? We're going to be doing foot soaks and facials and having a glass of wine, right? So same thing with this case. You're going to have a better turnout when you kind of help the host invite people with the correct verbiage and the correct attitude. So you can see here, you know, hey, I have the name. I hope you're having a great day. My friend Caitlin and I are hosting this online event together, and I thought you'd love to join us. She got me hooked on Arbonne, on a few Arbonne products that I love, and I'm sharing the love and helping her grow her business. They're botanically based, blah, blah, blah. You all can read that. But she addresses, you know, I know you probably get invited to things like this a lot, but I think it's totally worth it to log in and check it out. It's just going to be 30 minutes. So again, she's giving them more information about how long it's going to be. And I think a key is, especially if this is a host who has been using the product, she needs to share with her friends how much she enjoys it. Like, hey, this is totally worth learning about. You're going to love these products. And I think that's going to be key. So if the host, okay, well, let me check my notes here. So yeah, so you're going to send them that text example for how to invite. And when they get yes responses, this is what's really, really key, you guys. If they get a yes response, they're going to ask their guest permission to give you their contact info so that you can introduce yourself, ask them questions, and get them everything they need to join the event. Okay. So this is key because this creates connection. This creates building a relationship with your guests beforehand, just like you would before the spa or during bathroom time. So you're going to be asking them, the questions are right down here. The text that you're going to send to the guests once you have their information. You're going to ask how they know the host, where they're going to be tuning in from, what they do for work. But then you're also asking them what they're interested in learning about. You're going to know whether the majority of the people who are on the call are interested in learning about skincare or maybe nutrition, or you've got some people who want to maybe hear a little bit more about the makeup, right? Like you're going to know what they're going to be, what they're interested in hearing about, which is key, right? We want to meet people where they are. We want to give them what they want. So that part is really, really key. So you want to make sure that you're taking the time. So when they respond back, and not all of them will, but I've definitely had people who respond back and we have great conversations, respond back enthusiastically, chat with them, take the time to really continue to ask good questions. Don't make it 20 questions, but interact like you're building a relationship, because you are. That's what's key here. You're also going to ask, oh yeah, I already said that. You're also going to ask what they're most interested in so you can cater your event to your audience. But then if needed at this point, you can incentivize your host to get people on live. So if for some reason people aren't responding to you, or she hasn't gotten a lot of people who are committing to saying yes that they'll be on live, you could incentivize her with anything. It doesn't really matter what you're incentivizing her with. A box of fizz, some eye gel masks, to get a certain amount of people on the live. So you can say, hey, if you get X amount of people, it's five people or 8 people, or however many you feel like she could get on, or you want to set that for, that's up to you. If you can get 5 people on live with us, I will give you a box of fizz, right? Because you want to get people on live, because so these instructions tell you to record it, you can upload it to YouTube, and you can send it out to the people who weren't there. But y'all, the reality is that people probably aren't going to watch it. Even though it's going to be fast, it's going to be 20 to 30 minutes. People, if they didn't make the time to get on live, you better believe they're probably not going to make the time to get to watch it themselves. They might, right? You might get those lovely unicorns that actually do, but the reality is they probably won't. So it's going to be very important for you to coach your host to get people on live. That's going to be a better turnout for you. It's going to be a better turnout for her. It's just going to be better all the way around. You're going to make the invitation. So I actually have some invitations that I made down here. That, basically you can use like Typorama or whatever to overlay the date and the time right here. And then you can actually, and these are on here, so you can actually use another kind of like font that has it's like a block, and you can put your own Zoom code right here to cover that up. So date and time right here, and then you can cover up this Zoom code with something else. So, there's a healthy living one, and then there's this one, or you can make your own. I mean, it's really fine. You don't have to use mine at all. So you're going to send the invitation. When you send her the verbiage on how to invite, you're going to say, here's an invitation. Make sure you're inviting this way. And then you can send this invitation when they say yes. And then you're going to ask them for permission to give me their contact details. And then another thing that makes this easier is there's an app that's called Reach that a lot of my team, Stephanie Allen was the one who introduced us to Reach, but a lot of my team uses this for kind of keeping track of our preferred clients and our clients and reaching out to them. So Reach, or there's also an app that's similar called Hit 'em Up, where basically you can group people together. So when I did my first event like this, I created a group in the Reach app of the virtual attendees. And so when I had a text to send to them, I didn't have to send it individually to each of them. It goes individually. So it doesn't actually text them in a group text, but it basically, anyway, I hope you guys are following me. It allows you to text them personally without having to copy paste. It's all one kind of easy, like boop, 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 you send it. But like I said, it's not a group text, but it sends them the same text to each person. I hope that makes sense. I have not had my fizzy yet. So I did have a Mind Health. So hopefully that's going to help me out. Okay. And then also, of course, another big key to this is going to be regular texting reminders. So this, again, has this all here, checking in. This is where you're getting to know the people. On the day of the event, you're going to text them, today's the day. Can't wait for our webinar tonight or event tonight, however you want to call it. You're going to give them the Zoom link. You're going to tell them how to download Zoom. And then 30 minutes beforehand, you're going to say, can't wait to spend a few minutes with y'all tonight. Grab a glass of wine or a cup of tea, and I'll see you in 30. Make sure you've downloaded Zoom to your computer or phone so you can jump right on at 9 o'clock, 8:30, whatever the time it is. See you soon. Okay, and then here's the outline of the 30-minute webinar. So I'm going to do the outline now. Hang on, I'm going to share my screen with a different screen. And I'm going to show you the webinar or the presentation that I use. Okay, so I will say that before you actually share your screen, you're going to welcome your guests. You're going to have you're going to thank the host for hosting. You can, so before, like while you're all kind of looking at each other, you can say, thank you so much, Mary, for grabbing your friends together and letting me share with them. Thank you guys so much for being here. Mary, do you want to say anything to your guests or whatever? You can let her like greet her friends if she wants to. And then you're just going to jump right in and introduce yourself, right? And as you're introducing yourself, what better time to share a little bit of your story? So this is where you're going to do your I story. And this is actually something that I skipped from my, from before. I want to, okay, so really quick before I jump into the outline of how this works, I want us to remember, I want us to review really quickly, what do we actually do? And I said this briefly before, what do we do? We share Arbonne with others. We share the whole story of Arbonne with other people. That's what we break down to what we do. So at our spas, we're sharing the whole Arbonne story. Our job is to go where the people are in order to share with them, okay? And now the best way to do that is to get in front of them, right? Get in front of them, let them feel these products. However, during a pandemic viral breakout, obviously where you're going to where the people are is not going to them physically, it's going online. And let's be honest, you guys, in this day and age, it is very, very easy to reach people online virtually because that's where people are. We always have our phones within reach where we can actually, where we can connect with people, right? So the key is to make sure that there's still the connection. So if you're doing virtual stuff, you have got to make sure that I mean, honestly, I think even more so, you have to be intentional about connecting and building relationships with your host and your guests. It's so, so key. But I also wanted to break down what the whole Arbonne story is, right? What does that mean when I say the whole Arbonne story? I've broken it down, and I've done this training with my team before, that it's 4 elements. If you want to share Arbonne with people, you're sharing 4 different things. 1, your I story. 2, the Arbonne difference. 3, the products, whether that's just a quick overview or they're experiencing them, like at a spa party. And then the close, how they can get Arbonne. Okay, and that includes the business opportunity. All right. So with those 4 things in mind, think about that. Do we do that at our spa events? Yes. Do we do that at during a Discover Arbonne? Yeah. The products are not as highlighted, but the products, we talk about what we offer. We talk about the Arbonne difference. We talk about our ingredient policy. So just know that even if you're at the soccer field and you're getting into a conversation with somebody and you want to share Arbonne with them, it's not going to be a 30-minute long presentation. You can condense sharing Arbonne with all 4 of those elements down to a 5-minute, a 2-minute conversation, where you're giving your 10 to 30-second commercial. You're going over briefly how amazing Arbonne is, how long we've been around in our incredible ingredient policy. You're talking about how many kinds of products that we do have, right? You might even be able to pull out, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be giving this complete hydration to my kid after they get off of the soccer field, because this is so much better than Gatorade, right? Like, and then you can also, then you're not gonna do a full close necessarily in that situation, but you're gonna tell them how they can get it or how they can get more information. That's sharing Arbonne. So that being said, you're going to see those elements here as well. And so at the beginning, you want to make sure that you're giving your I story. So you're going to let the host welcome her guest if she wants to, introduce yourself, and then you're going to give your, 2 to 3 minute I story, 2 minutes better. So I would say 1 to 2 minute I story, actually. So 2 minutes or less I story. Okay. And then you're going to share your screen. And this is the first slide of the screen. And so I'm not going to do the event for you. Obviously that's going to take too much time, but there are resources that I'll make sure that you have that can show you what this actually looks like. So I love this quote and I love this picture. So I love starting it with this. And so again, a lot of this is going to look very, very familiar, you guys. What I do and what I've taught my team to do is have your note cards in front of you. Just remember, this is a visual for them. So you don't want too much information on these slides. So you're going to use these slides kind of as a script, but just know that they can see it and they can read it too. So you want to be giving them maybe like information that kind of goes hand in hand with what they're looking at and what they're reading. So talking about, we were founded in Switzerland. We were brought here in 1980. You guys have been around for 40 years now, which is amazing. I'd never heard of Arbonne before I was first introduced. And I was actually introduced sitting on a couch with a mud mask on my face and my feet in a bucket of hot water soaking my feet. And I had never heard of Arbonne before. We've been around for 40 years. So, you don't have to just read it verbatim. And again, as you're getting better at this, you're going to have your own things that you want to share. But you guys, this information should be familiar to you. So this should be easy for you to share. And so, why is it doing that? Oh, because I touched. Okay, sorry. Technology. Okay, so I love having the slide in here. You do not read everything that's on here. I want you guys to decide the coolest thing you think about being a B Corp is, right? Like what are the key takeaways for you in terms of Arbonne being a B Corp? But you guys, being a B Corporation gives us so much legitimacy. Like you can't argue. You really like, are we a pyramid scheme? Well, would we be a B Corporation if we were a pyramid scheme? No. So there's just so much to making sure people know what a B Corporation is. And again, this is a lot of information. You don't have to spend a lot of time on the slide, but pick out 1 or 2 sentences that you think that really resonate with you about why you think it's really cool that Arbonne is a B Corporation. So there's this, and then this is the Arbonne difference, right? So, and this is all, not every slide on here, I will be honest, is complete. Like if I was to turn this into Arbonne, there are some things later that they may not like me having on here in terms of like detox and stuff. But a lot of this stuff, sharing this is compliant. So if there are things that are not listed here that you like to share that are maybe on your cards or whatever, right? And again, and I mean by compliant, by like, okay, now I'm going down a wormhole now, but you know, when we just need to be very, very careful about how we share Arbonne, how, like, we need to make sure we're not making any medical claims and stuff like that. But there are definitely things that you can share from your own personal experience that are not going to be on these cards or on these slides. Okay. So for instance, when I talk about, you know, the skincare industry and how in the United States, we only ban, you know, 13 ingredients. I also talk about how, the last time the FDA passed a law regulating the cosmetic industry was in 1938, right? That's not on these cards, but that always blows people away because it's true and it's ridiculous. Same thing, I'll sometimes talk about the Trade Secret Act that we have here in the United States, which allows consumer product good companies to hide up to 1,000 ingredients behind a word like fragrance or flavor. And people, you know, so I say, like, even if you could reading an ingredients list, even if you had a chemistry degree and it allowed you to know exactly what was in a product because you're looking at the ingredients list, one, you don't know where those products were sourced from and how they interact with one another necessarily. And two, you don't know what's hidden behind some of those things that are on that list. You don't actually have all the information when you're looking at the list. And so you have to align yourself with a company like Arbonne that has the integrity to be transparent, and to really be able to balance profit and people. That's why we're a B Corp. And so you can talk briefly about our product philosophy, all this good stuff. Again, say here what you would normally say, right? Like, this is just a visual. And I always love sharing this because after you talk about how amazing Arbonne is and how clean we are, some people don't give a crap, right? I'll be honest, I was one of those people. I was like, oh, cool. Like, why does that matter? I can just go grab something off the shelf. And you know what I mean? Like, I still didn't understand why it mattered. And so this is a really great visual for teaching people like why it matters, right? And so that's how I transition to this slide, is I say, okay, that's all fine and good, right? But why does that even matter? Well, you know, our body is all connected, you know. And I talk about how the liver is that detox organ and how toxins enter your body through your lungs, your skin, and through what you're eating. Anyway, so I talk about all that here. And then it's a great segue into, you know, what matters, what you're putting on your skin, and it matters what's putting in your body. And so Arbonne obviously has you covered there. You know, you're going to give an overview. Look, these are all the products that we've got. There's tons, over 325 products for everybody, yada, yada, yada. And then you're going to talk about the RE9. Okay, so here's what you can do here. You can just leave this up here, or you can stop share at this point, stop sharing, and you can grab your products. I should have grabbed them and showed you, but you guys know what these look like. Grab your products and you can actually do it on your face if you want, right? If you wanted to make it a bit more than just you talking and them looking, you can, you know, do your regimen on your face right then and there. You're going to talk about it as you're doing it, or at the very least you can stop share and hold it up and say, this is why I love this product. This is the cleanser. I love that it doesn't strip my skin and make me like squeaky clean. I feel like it really gets my face clean, but I don't feel super dry afterwards. You know, so you can give them, again, your take on each of these products, a fact and a love. That's a good formula to go by when you're talking about a product. Give them one fact about the product and give them one love about the product, what you love about it. So you can stop sharing here on your screen and you can actually hold up the products. And then there are some before and afters, obviously some that are from Arbonne. And then this is my own before and after. This is what my skin looked like before I started using Arbonne. And this is what my skin looks like. Well, that was like 3 years ago, but my skin still looks like that. So this is my favorite before and after from mine. So I love that you guys can say, like, this is a girl that I know. This is Caitlin, and this is her transformation. So, and then you're going to talk about the nutrition. You can talk about the 30 days to healthy living. And now this is the slide that probably isn't completely compliant because Arbonne doesn't like us using the word detox. So just be very careful on the slide when you talk about that, like all these things listed here. Arbonne is not a cure for those things. The reason these are listed is because these are side effects and signs of inflammation in your body. And what Arbonne does help you do is it helps you get your body back to an alkaline state, and it can help reduce inflammation, which in turn can help reduce symptoms of inflammation, which are a lot of these things. So talking about, you know, like, what is your body telling you? Are you experiencing brain fog, depression, poor memory, like all these things, right? Like, what are how many things would you be able to circle on this list that you struggle with? If it's more than maybe one or two, or actually even if it's even any of those things, you know, it's probably time for a reset. And I try to call it a reset or a cleanse instead of a detox, but I've been calling it detox for so long, it's hard to switch. But then you're going to talk about what it is, what it's not. You're going to talk about nutritional rebalancing, because it's not fad dieting. Anyway, you guys know all of this stuff. And if you don't, talk to your VP, like they'll make sure that you have the information that you need to be able to start this. But at the very minimum, you can read this stuff and the people can see it. Like if you just read this, you're going to understand how this works. And then our 30 days to healthy living helps you do these things. We eat clean. It's going to increase your nutrient intake. It's going to teach you to eat in the proper portions. It's going to help balance your blood sugar, and it's going to support your organs of elimination. Again, you don't have to read every single thing on here. And then it goes through the products of the 30 days to healthy living, go through these quickly. And then again, this is very key, you guys. Why do you love it? If you have not done the 30 days to healthy living, by the way, yourself, I would highly recommend that you do. You need to have your own testimony. You need to have your own love statements of your products, and you need to be able to coach people through it. And if you haven't done it yourself, why are you leading somebody else through it? And then again, some results. So these are my personal results over on the right-hand side. Here on the left, this is my friend Brittany. Both of us were postpartum. So if that helps, maybe I could put that down there. These are both postpartum 30 days. So this is my day 1, day 30, and then 2 months later, or 3 months later, technically 120, day 120. So you can see those. I've also got a dude on here. We got Brian representing, and you can even say like, these are people that I know. Y'all all know who Brian Orenchuk is. So this is his results. These are some more that are pretty awesome. Again, Arbonne equals results for life. We're not going to compromise ingredients to get those results. We believe in great results and great health. And then the last seeing is believing slide that I have is the longer term people who have seen these results and this amazing transformation through continuing to eat clean, because it's not just 30 days, you guys, it's 30 days to healthy living and beyond. This is actually, Preston is a client of Brian's, who Brian has been coaching through losing weight, and he's lost over 100 pounds. It's really, really cool. Preston is so sweet. And then Maddie as well. So, and then here's where things change a little bit from what you're used to. So we're going to do the close, right? But the close is very different than what it is at a spa party. And I'm sorry if I'm going a little over, but I know that this stuff needs to be gone over. So this is being recorded. So if you need to hop off, you absolutely can. But so again, this is how I segue to this slide is I say something like, you guys, I know, most of you guys are here, are probably here because you wanted to hear more about our amazing skincare or our 30 days to healthy living. But I also know that there were some of you who were curious about how this business works. And quite frankly, the business is the best product that we have to offer in terms of helping people flourish and becoming, and becoming the best versions of themselves. This business is actually what's helped me do that the most. And so I'm just going to share this with you very, very quickly. And if it's not for you, maybe listen for a friend. Again, does that sound familiar? It's the third way to use Arbonne. So you're going to do your close just like you normally would. The information here is a little bit different. So if you want to kind of switch how you say and what you say for this particular slide, feel free. Again, you guys practice. Practice, 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 practice. Because if you're not familiar with these slides, you're going to trip yourself up. If you don't know what you want to say, you're going to trip yourself up. So again, this is the Is Arbonne for You sheet. That's straight from Arbonne.com. You can talk about the difference between social marketing or network marketing and traditional retail, how that looks, what it is that we actually do. And then if you just want to read these 3 things, I think this is a really good overview of what this business actually looks like. And then obviously put in your own personal touch, right? And then I've always loved this question. This is really what got me. Like, if you keep doing what you're doing, where are you going to be in 5 years? And for me, I was like, heck no, I don't want to be there, because I was going to be in the exact same place. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And a phrase that I've been using a lot lately, you guys, that really resonates with me and I think resonates with others is, in my iStory, I talk about how I really was not looking. I was looking for something when I did not want to do this. I did not want to do network marketing. But when Jeremy lost his job right after we had Josie, I realized something had to change. I realized that if I wanted something that I'd never had, which was financial freedom and time freedom, I was going to have to do something that I'd never done. And that was absolutely something like this. And so I think that can resonate with people a lot as well. And then, so again, this is the compliant version. So this is what I say. I say, you guys, this is the Arbonne Independent Consultant compensation summary that you can find on Arbonne.com. So feel free to look at that. but I'm going to give you the averages and timeframes that is normal in my organization. And then I do the close like I normally would. You know, this is what it looks like. We make money 2 different ways. You know, we make our commission, we get paid every Tuesday for our 35% or 15% on our preferred clients. But the second way that we make money is where the real income opportunity is. I'm going to give you a quick overview of what you can expect to make if you're doing about 10 to 15 hours a week on average and working your business consistently. And then I do the comp plan like we normally would, right? And I just say like, these are the averages, but quite frankly, our team, you know, grows a little faster than that if you stay consistent with our system. Okay, so this is where it kind of shifts. Okay, so you've done the business portion. Oops, I realized I can't. I was trying to scroll down. You can't do that. And so I don't really use the hesitations and the love necessarily unless I'm sharing something a little bit different. But I do say, so based on everything that you just heard, so that I know how I can help you best and follow up with you best. What I want you to do is I want you to text me. You guys all have my number because we've been chatting before this. I want you to text me right now, whether you're a 1, a 2, or a 3. And before you text me, I'm going to explain what this is. And then you go over with them. So if you're a 1, you know, basically what that means is that you're a little curious about how this business works. You may be looking for an extra stream of income or looking to replace your job or looking for something that's going to bring you something extra. And you're kind of curious about how this works and you want to learn a little bit more. So text me a 1 if that's you. Text me a 2 if you are good to go financially, but you want to get your hands on these products. Maybe you thought that skincare sounded amazing. You've been looking for something like this, or you know that you need a detox and you want to do that 30 days healthy living, or maybe you're curious about something else. Shoot me a 2 if you want to learn more about some products and I can put together some great packages that can help you get the biggest bang for your buck. And then shoot me a 3 if you know that you want to host, if you know that you've got people in your life who need to hear this and who would love to hear more about Arbonne. There are definitely some great rewards and gifts and all kinds of good perks that you get for just letting me share Arbonne with your world, because you guys, the people need to know about this. Like, help me help the world by sharing this with other people. So shoot me a 3 if you're a host. And by the way, if you become a consultant or a preferred client, you can also host too. So 1, a 2, or 3, I want you to text me right now what you are. And you guys, it's amazing. They text you. People who are on live, they will text you because you guys have already built the rapport. You've already chatted with them, or at least the ones that you chatted with beforehand, but even sometimes the ones who don't. Text them, and you will absolutely be able to, you know, continue that conversation. So let's see here. Oh, and also I didn't mention this, but when you're sharing the 30 days, you can also stop share and you can hold up products if you want to make it a bit more like interactive with you. So biggest thing, you guys, fortune is in the follow-up. So this is where the magic happens. Think of after the presentation, after the event, after you guys are done and gone. This is like when you're at your parties, when you're like sitting down on the floor and you're chatting with people. Okay, this is where the magic happens. The fortune's in the follow-up. So if they respond as a 1, you're going to send them your favorite DA call or video, and then set up a one-on-one call with them where you can actually have a conversation about what they're curious about. If they're a 2, you're going to ask them which products stood out to them and what issues they feel like they need help with, and help guide them to their best purchase option. Again, just like you would in an in-person event. And then 3, choose a date for the event and you help them create their guest list. So as always, the focus is on building relationships, you guys, and communicating with each guest and host. And as per usual, always asking these golden questions. Have you ever thought about doing something like this before? I had so much fun with you tonight. I know you love the products. Would you be open to hosting a virtual event with me? It's so simple. And then again, as always, the goal is not just selling product. It is finding business partners and booking more events from this one. So the biggest difference, again, between this and what you're used to in terms of the presentation is the close. So just make sure that you practice. Make sure that you're not like, let's just do everything, you know, let's do a virtual. And then the first time you even look at this and open it up is when you've got people in front of you, because you will trip over your words. You will get hot and flushed. So, you know, obviously, you know, you can't really screw it up. Like it's not brain surgery. Nobody's going to die. But if you want to take advantage of the opportunities that you have, kind of makes sense to practice. And then, yeah, I already said this too. This is the perfect opportunity to ask people to be your test host so that you can still share Arbonne with them. And then there are a couple other slides on here that kind of give you the best deal, so they can see, hey, if you're interested in that RE9 set, this is what it retails at. This is what it would be if you hosted for me or you become a consultant. This is what it'd be if would it be if it became a preferred client. And what I always do too, so it is $35 per item, which I think is pretty cool. And I think that's at the retail. I need to do that math. But I always say this says 2 to 6 months because that's, I think, what Arbonne says, but y'all, mine lasts 6 to 9 months. This set is incredible. It lasts a long time. And then same thing. So you can kind of see here. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to invite Erin. Let me find her. Actually, Erin, you can probably unmute yourself. I'm going to invite Erin. So this is Executive Area Manager, soon to be Region, actually. Woo, woo, Erin DeRozier. And again, like I said, she's been doing a lot of these with me. She's probably maybe done more virtuals than I have at this point, because she's a rock star. So I wanted to have her come on and give you some of her kind of tips and things that she's learned through doing this as well.
Okay, thanks, Caitlin. Can you hear me okay with my service down here?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So that was amazing, Caitlin. You covered everything. It was awesome. I hope everyone got so much out of it. So I've been doing, like Caitlin said, virtuals for some time now, and it's been trial and error. I think what we've really come to, what Caitlin presented with you guys today, has been one of the best ones that we have executed so far. And I think one of the main things is remembering that you guys know all of this, you've done this before. You're sharing the same information that you're sharing at your spas. You're just doing it through a screen. And I think the thing that we love so much about that spa is having that personal connection with people. So making sure that you are connecting with the people that are coming beforehand. So that's going to be through texting them. So having the host send you their numbers so that you can connect with them, just like Caitlin was saying. And finding out what they're interested in. And you're asking them the same questions that you're asking them if you're doing the bathroom time. So finding out where they live, what they do they love what they do they have kids, what are some of their favorite hobbies, what are some of their dreams, so you're learning about them, you're still connecting. So with that, one of the mistakes I learned from, don't mute them. So like we were muted on here, do not mute your participants. Luckily, it was with 2 of my close friends from back home. So when I got done and I unmuted them, I'm like, that was really stupid of me because you guys were not able to share any feedback. We weren't able to have a conversation because you want it to be a conversation with them. So if people want to ask questions, just like they do in a spa, they can interact with you. The other thing I would say, like Caitlin was saying, is that follow-up is so key. So you've already connected with them before. I mean, we always say that fortune is in the follow-up. So once you have, connected with them beforehand, you already have their number, and then you have figured out a little bit more of what they're into, and then you presented everything at the end. You're asking them to text you that 1, 2, or 3, and making sure that you're staying connected with them and chatting and talking through what they're looking for. And, people buy things online, sight unseen, every single day. And this shouldn't be any different for them. I mean, Arbonne has an incredible return policy. You guys all know that. And so if they're unsatisfied with something, that they can easily exchange it or return it. So don't let that be a fear of holding you back. I think that was something when I first started, I was like, oh, I don't know. They're not going to touch it. Just like they get to at the spa. It's so much of the experience, but we do it every single day. And it's just been a really great way to be able to reach people that you wouldn't normally be able to reach that are right in here in town. I mean, I didn't grow up in North Carolina, so I've been able to reach out to people who are cross country. I did one with my sister-in-law in Germany the other day. And so she's going to be using the product. Luckily, my stepbrother works at a base, so he has an APO. But when we come to Germany, which we're going to, you already have your in. So think about those people who aren't in the area that you can reach out to and start making those connections. Was there anything else you wanted me to throw in, Caitlin?
I don't think so. I think you covered it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I guess you can share with them kind of what your, have you found as well as I have that you kind of have to do 2 to 3 in order to really get what you need out of one.
Yeah.
Except, it doesn't take as much time to do a full event.
Definitely. And what I've found is that it's more of sets that people are buying as opposed to individual items. Granted, there are some individual items, but it's definitely more of sets. And I see more nutrition versus the skincare. But that could also come because I put more of an emphasis on the nutrition through doing these. And that's what a lot of the people I'm reaching out to, I'm asking them about. But yeah, talking about those sets. And I really think that, like, just like we sometimes have a dud spa, you're still getting something out of it. And I think right now, if you haven't done them, you're reaching out and asking them to be you're trying to get some training, and ask them to be one of your training virtuals and have them hop on and have them invite some people. And then you never know what they're going to get out of it. I mean, I ended up having someone getting a 30-day nutrition kit. Hold on. Sorry. I have horses about to run me over. So that made me lose my train of thought, because I was like, and there's a 1,000-pound animal coming near me. So I had someone who was an absolute hard no on our nutrition for the longest time, because she was like, there are too many carbs in it. And then I reached out to her because I knew she would like it. It was like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how to do these virtuals. Would you mind popping on? Just because I know you're very healthy minded. You are already really into healthy living, and I just need someone to hear me out. Guys, at the end of it, she ended up getting the 30-day kit, because she hears how awesome it is. So, these are good ones to circle back to people who maybe haven't been interested before, or you really wanted them to host in person for you, but they haven't, or someone else that you wanted to hop on, like a take a look or something, they won't hop on. You can reach back out to them for this.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and thank you so much, Erin. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. Hang on. Okay.